This story gave everything and then some. The chemistry between these two is electric. This book right here, let me tell you, I ate it up.
I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Hello everyone, I am Ronnie Natasha Renee, and welcome back to my channel R&R the Serial Reader. Today I'm so excited to share with you my top 4 of 2024 and some honorable mentions as well. All right, so let's get started. Let's start off by talking about the book that really left an impression on me, which was The Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson. This story was truly powerful, yet heartbreaking and raw all at the same time. In the story, we go through an unimaginable journey with a young woman by the name of Phoebe Dolores Brown. Phoebe was born on a plantation in Virginia with a promise of freedom when she turns 18. Phoebe was the child of a house slave and the master of the plantation. And because she was the child of the plantation owner, she received some privileges by not being out in the field. Of course, she was enslaved. She had no authority over her life. However, her mom made her feel like, one day when you turn 18, that you will be able to get off of the plantation and live your life. I was kind of upset with that because I'm like, why would you feed her that dream, that hope? There is no guarantee that you're going to get out when you turn 18. But Phoebe kept harping on that when she gets out, when she gets out, when she gets out. But as you know, that was just a dream. There was no guarantee. Things started to go a little awry. And if you know anything about the slavery times, you know that, okay, yes, you come from the master, you're his child, but you're not his legitimate family. He had a wife, he had other children, and of course, the wife was not going to stand by and watch you get anything good. And now that your mom is no longer here, and some other things happen as well, which is why Phoebe winds up not getting the dream that she wanted. Phoebe was a refined slave. She could play the piano, she can read, even though it was against the law that slaves could not read, she was able to read. And that was the privilege that she had of being the plantation owner's child and being in the home rather than out in the field. But, again, as soon as Phoebe was sold, I felt like Phoebe, for the 18 years of her life, and her mother kept saying, you are going to be free. You are going to go off and live your life. I feel like she was living in La La Land. And finally, when it got to the point where she wasn't living on La La Land and she was sold and she was being treated just like the other slaves, she finally realized, like, I'm just like everyone else and I need to adjust. And she did have to adjust. She had to bend. She had to be resilient. When it came to the jailer, he was a terrifying man. He was really feared. He was infamous, I should say, for how he broke slaves in. Phoebe is forced to become the mistress of the notorious and brutal jailer. Phoebe went through so much. She endured so much loss, yet she never gave up. This was a story about perseverance and resilience. Phoebe was a prime example that sometimes you have to give in or go along in order to make it through. This story is loosely based on the real life experiences of a woman named Mary Lumpkin, who was imprisoned and used sexually by Robert Lumpkin. The Devil's Half Acre was a real place in Virginia, and the story captures the brutality and resilience of those who endured its horrors. I listened to this story on audio. I did both. Did I do both? I can't remember. Typically, when I do historical fictions, I do it immersive style. So I'm assuming that I was reading and listening to it, but I most likely primarily listened to it. And so as you listen to the story, it was so good. The narrator was so good because not only did you hear the words that they spoke, did you hear the feelings and the emotions through the story. You also, there was a scene where someone was getting whipped, and whoever was the narrator narrated the whipping sound as well. And I felt every whip, when it was like, I can't even do it as well as the narrator did it, but like I said, when the narrator did the whipping sound, I felt it. The audio was exceptional. It was truly an experience. It was almost like you were there yourself. So please be aware this book is about slavery. There may be some things that are triggering. Nevertheless, this was one of my top reads. When I closed the book, I remembered the book. I felt the story. I was intrigued to learn more about Mary Lumpkin. And so I, started to do a little bit more research. And that's how impactful the book was. It was a well-written book. I was completely engaged in the book. I had a lot of mixed feelings when it came to the book. Again, I was frustrated with Phoebe in the beginning because I kept saying, girl, you are a slave. Like, what are you expecting? But at the same time, I was like, well, that's what you call hope, Ronnie. Why wouldn't she have hope? And why would you want? And I was mad at her mom too. I was like, why do you keep telling her this? You're setting her up. She's going to have to come face to face with the real world. This is the real world. And I'm thinking to myself, slavery was real. What if there was someone that had that same hope and dream as Phoebe did? And that's what kept them going. That's what kept pushing them. So my anger dissolved, and on the inside, I was like, please, I hope she gets free. I hope she gets what she wants. But you definitely would have to read the story to see what was Phoebe's end. I was a little bit in La La Land myself because there was a little part of me thinking that she was going to, or her and the jailer were going to fall in love with each other. And then it was going to be this, we created a home sort of thing. But I quickly realized that this was not a historical romance. This was truly a historical fiction. There is a difference. I definitely recommend this book to anyone who is interested in historical fiction or who is looking to get into historical fiction. I actually read Sadiqa's other book, The House of Eve, because I enjoyed that book so much. I wanted to read more of her work. And so that's why I ended up with reading Yellow Wife, and it was a good decision. I'm so glad I did it. Yes, I'm a Black girl, but I'm a Black girl who doesn't know everything about my history, which is kind of sad to say, And so this kind of pushed me to go out and do a little bit more research. But now I'm at a point in my life where I want to learn more about myself, about my history. Yes, it was a historical fiction, but it pushed me to dig a little bit deeper. Y'all, the moment I picked up This Time Around by Kay Shanae, I just knew this was going to be a 5-star read. And let me tell you, I was not wrong. I just love this book so much. The story starts with Tessa, the FMC, and Cyrus, the MMC, meeting at a nightclub, and they have a one-night stand. But here's the kicker. No real names are exchanged. No details were exchanged. Just one unforgettable night. And that's it. We don't hear anything else until 20 years later. It's by mere chance that Tessa and Cypress cross paths again. And so we get a second chance romance. I want to start off by talking about Cypress. He was the MMC we didn't know we needed. Cypress was everything you want in a male lead. He was whole, healed, and emotionally intelligent. Despite a single night of indiscretion, Cypress was far from a womanizer. He was educated, career-driven, and he came from a two-parent household where he learned what real love and care looked like. Even after being betrayed by his no-good fiancé, he didn't let bitterness or hatred consume him. Instead, he handled conflicts with maturity and reason, which made me love him even more. Now we have Tessa. She was a complex character, but she was a strong and relatable FMC. Not only was Tessa beautiful and successful, she was a devoted mother. But as Tessa approached 40, she felt a little sense of unhappiness and decided to make some big life changes. Despite growing up in a toxic single-parent home where she was constantly criticized, Tessa managed to break that cycle and created a loving relationship with her daughter. I was so in awe with their bond, and it truly touched me. The reason why this book stood out as one of my faves for 2024 is that it doesn't just give you romance. It's packed with so many meaningful themes, complex romantic relationships, to breaking generational cycles and building better futures, personal growth and healing, and overcoming adversity. You definitely feel so many emotions while reading this book. From excitement to anxiety to sadness, anger, and happiness. This book was a page turner. I could not put it down. It was truly a story that explored the highs and lows of love, family, and personal transformation. If you are looking for a story that's not just about romance, but about growth and forgiveness and emotional depth, you need to read this time around. It's a book that grips you from start to finish. Trust me, this is one worth every minute of your time. All right, we're getting close to the end. Let's get it. Let's talk about the book that completely consumed me. If you know, you know. This story gave everything and then some. The book I'm talking about is Demon's Dream by L. Kaysen. This book gives us forced proximity with a 30-day deal, a morally gray hero, and a heroine who isn't afraid to fight back. All the tropes I adore. It is a multi-character story, but the main couple are Damien Demon Montana and Dream Dior. Their forced proximity and convenience relationship set the stage for what we all love as the most unforgettable romance that we are obsessed with. Right from the beginning, we're introduced to Demon, a mysterious and dangerous man with a reputation so terrifying that they call him Demon. The first impression? Intense. His character pulls you into this dark, gritty world. Then there's Dream. Her introduction as her family's fixer makes her stand out as a strong, capable, and willing to sacrifice herself for her loved ones. You can't help but root for her. Demon starts off with this no caring, no love mantra. It's his armor, but as the story progresses, we see the cracks. It's Dream who forces him to confront the emotion he's buried for years. Watching his walls come down was the most satisfying parts of the story because he lets her in. Dream is more than just a love interest. She's a force. I love how she didn't just submit to her circumstances. Even in a dire situation, she stays sharp and keeps her sense of self. He gave it away. Oh! I can't have that. I can't have that in my video. Her bravery really shines when she begins to challenge Demon, not just physically but emotionally. She's exactly the kind of heroine that I love to read about. The chemistry between these two is electric. It's electric. As I mentioned, this was a multi-character story, and we also get another couple, which are Cartier, Smoke, Salinas, and Diana, who is Dream's sister. Smoke was a standout character in the story. Smoke's character was a confidant to Demon. It was a brotherhood forged in blood and survival. It's clear that Smoke isn't just a side character. You can feel their loyalty to each other. It's like an unspoken understanding that they will always have each other's back. Demon was feared by everyone except Smoke. Both Demon and Smoke gave off DDE, which causes a stir amongst us reader. There's this ongoing debate over the two. Who you riding with? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm riding with Smoke. Of course, it's given that Demon is no joke, but Smoke was no joke too. And let's not forget about Smoke's method of unaliving people. Ooh, child. Oh, and how about how he puts it down on Diana in that scene? Ooh, child. Fanning myself. There are some subtle hints that Smoke carries a lot of guilt and pain from his past. These unspoken scars make him a layered character, and it's easy to see why he's drawn to Diana's warmth and light. Smoke is fiercely protective of Diana, not just physically but emotionally. You can see it how he steps in to shield her from danger. There was so much tension and angst that I felt, especially during the wedding scene. I was practically screaming at Diana. I was like, Diana, don't you hear him calling you, girl? Stop playing. At one point, Smoke steps in to defend Diana against a threat. And that is where it solidifies how he deeply feels for Diana. In trying to save Diana, Smoke was going out of his mind to the point that he blacked out. Switched to killer mode because he so badly wanted to take down the threat against her. It was that moment that I could clearly see Smoke was nothing to play with. And that's why I'm riding with Smoke. What sets this book apart is how it humanizes the characters. Demon isn't just a monster, and Dream isn't just a damsel. They are layered, complex, and compelling characters. If you had to guess, you know that I gave this book 5 stars and beyond. It was gripping, emotional, and it was so hard for me to put this book down. I think I read this book in 2 days. It was over 700 pages, and I could not put this book down. I felt as if I was in a cinematic experience, like I was reading a movie or a whole TV series. If you love drama with unforgettable characters, you have to check Demon's Dream out. All right, and now we get down to number 1. Let's get it. Listen, Lady Nisha has done it again with Losing Control. This book had me hooked from start to finish, pulling me through a whirlwind of emotions while keeping me laughing out loud. Lady has this incredible ability to balance heavy things with humor, making her stories unforgettable. At over 600 pages, this book was a journey. But let me tell you, every single page was worth it. The emotional depth and character development made it impossible to put this book down. I don't even want to put it down now. From the first glance, this book screams emotional intensity. It's about 2 broken people, Caesar and Marley, aka Lil Booty, coming together, but not without a ton of baggage and chaos. Set in Detroit, paired with the music industry backdrop, adds a gritty and unique vibe that makes the story feel raw and real. Caesar is introduced as Detroit's bad boy, but he's so much more than that. The public sees his sharp tongue and lyrical genius, but behind the scenes, he's battling his own demons. The industry drama, the scandals, and the lies that Caesar faces keeps the stakes high throughout the book. Now we have Marley. Her tragedy has left her emotionally unavailable, and she's just going through the motions of life. You are really rooting for Marley that she will be able to focus on finding strength and purpose again. I love how Lady Nisha doesn't shy away from showing Marley's grief and her struggles. She has been through so much, but it's clear it won't come without heartache and struggle. Although we fall in love with Caesar and Marley and their blooming relationship, I have to keep it real. Caesar is a walking red flag, and Marley is emotionally unavailable, which is really a recipe for disaster. Because their relationship is destined for chaos, it makes it even more intriguing. You wonder, how will they be able to navigate through their own issues while trying to be together? But somehow their differences brought balance, where Marley brings a sense of calm to his chaotic life. Caesar helps Marley rediscover her zest for life. Their chemistry is undeniable, but it's their witty banter and emotional healing together that really makes their relationship stand out. Let's pause for a moment and talk about Lady. Her specialty is not just the humor, the emotional depth of her characters, but her supporting characters. I say this over and over again. She really does have a knack for writing amazing supporting characters. They don't just exist in the background, they bring the story to life and they add layers to the main characters' journeys. Marley's sister, Harper, is one of my favorite characters in this story. She is fiercely loyal and is always there for Marley, even when others who should be are not. Harper's family, especially her husband Jackson and their hilarious son JJ, added so much more humor and heart to the story. With JJ's magic tricks and Jackson's protective nature, it brought much needed lightness to the story. Some of the most funniest scenes involved Harper, like her predicament at the sip and paint event with Jackson's unexpected appearance. These moments were pure gold and it balanced the heavier parts of the story. I would say the theme of family is strong throughout this story, whether it's Marley's bond with her sister Harper or Caesar finding a sense of belonging through his connection through Marley. I just can't help but mention Lady Nisha's writing. She is excellent at giving you emotional depth with humor all at the same time. And you feel everything. One moment you're crying with Marley, the next minute you're laughing at JJ's antics or Caesar's sharp comebacks. She definitely strikes the perfect balance between heavy emotions and laugh out loud moments, which makes her book so unique. This proves why Lady Nisha is a must-read author for me. Her ability to craft complex characters, balance intense emotions with humor, and keep you invested for over 600 pages is a match. There is only one other author that I feel comes close to having a similar writing style to Lady, and that is Nina, the author of the Orna series. If you're looking for a story that will make you laugh, cry, and believe in second chances, definitely pick up Losing Control is the book for you. The first honorable mention is At Dusk by Ashley Nicole. This story centers on a killer who hides in plain sight, preying on victims when they are most vulnerable, at dusk, hence the title. In this story, we get Special Agent Harlan Tate, who is not just on the hunt for the killer, but is connected to the killer from his past. Harlan makes it his life's mission to take this monster down. In the present, the killer is back, and this time he is out for a woman named Tora, who is also connected to the killer from her past. This throws Harlan and Tora together. As Harlan makes it his life's mission to protect Tora, it also sparks romance between the two. The question in this story is, will Harlan be able to take this monster down and finally be able to move on with his life? Will he be able to keep Tora safe? The only way you can find out is by picking up this book and reading it. This was my first crime, thriller, romantic suspense read, and let me say it had me by the seat of my pants. Not to mention, I had moments where I was really scared. Maybe a part of it had to do with me reading the book late at night while I was home alone. The tension from not knowing definitely gets to you. I will say though that I was able to figure out who the killer was, and when you read it yourself, you will be completely shocked. But even so, I didn't feel like the story was predictable, as I didn't know what direction the book was going in. I was just so fully engrossed in the storytelling that I was able to figure it out. If you read this book by Ashley Nicole and you want to purchase a physical copy as a trophy like I did because I loved it so much, you will have to go to her website to purchase the physical copy. Only the Kindle Unlimited version is available on Amazon. If you are into edge of your seat type thrillers, suspense with deep and realistic characters, this book is for you. This book right here, let me tell you, I ate it up. Yum, yum, eat it up. Yum, yum, eat 'em up.
Yum, yum, eat 'em up. Yum, yum, eat 'em up. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.
This is one of those stories where once you start, you can't stop. You're so invested in the twists and turns. You just have to know what happens next. And the book that I'm talking about is All the Things Missing at Home by Nikki Michelle. This book is filled with everything from childhood trauma to family drama to secrets, lies, and intense, messy ass romance, laced with betrayal that will have you clutching your pearls. I felt like I was on a roller coaster ride reading this story. It was so many twists and turns I did not see coming. So in this story, we get two couples, Stacy and Donovan and Jerome and Sheila. Two very different couples with different issues and dynamics. But somehow, these couples' lives are intertwined, and as a result, we get a book filled with drama. But let me tell you
this, Linda.
I was here for it. I was here for it all. The mess, the drama, the secrets, the lies. It kept me turning pages. There was even a little bit of suspense towards the end, which threw me completely for a loop. I did not see that coming. But again, I was here for this messy book filled with drama. I would say that I did have one issue with the book, and that was it was left on a cliffhanger. And that's it. There is no part two, there's nothing. Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. So it is, we would have to just accept the book as it is. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this book. I feel like it's mad underrated. I love this story so much. I originally read it on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought the book as a trophy because that's how much fun I had reading all the mess. If you enjoy mess like I do, I highly recommend that you surely pick up this book. You will not be disappointed. If you're looking for a book that blends romance, personal growth, and a healthy dose of heat, Aphrodisiac by Tia Love delivers all of that and more. This story is about two people from vastly different backgrounds who are each strong and whole in their own way, but find themselves challenged by love and everything it brings. Morgan is such a standout protagonist. She's a black woman with Afghan roots, raised in the southern US by her father after her parents' divorce. Her upbringing and life experiences does shape her perspective on relationships in such an interesting way. Morgan is successful, she's driven, and fully in control of her life. I loved seeing a strong, self-assured female lead. Her personal life is unconventional. She's not looking for marriage or monogamy. She's comfortable living life on her own terms. But Gillespie, my man, completely throws her for a loop. Gillespie is such a refreshing male lead. After going through a divorce and raising his child, he is still grounded, respectful, and unwavering in his belief on love. He knows what he wants in life and in a partner, and he refused to compromise his values, even for someone as alluring as Morgan. Coming from a two-parent household where love and respect were modeled for him, Gillespie brings a steady and unshakable energy to the story. It's the perfect contrast to Morgan's more free-spirited, guarded nature. What makes him stand out is his commitment, not just to winning Morgan's heart, but also to helping her see that love doesn't mean losing herself. Gillespie loved Morgan down. The dynamic between Morgan and Gillespie is electric. She's all about independence and casual relationships, while he's all about love and commitment. The push and pull between their belief creates so much tension. The sexual tension between the two is off the charts. Tia does an amazing job of balancing that heat with deeper emotional stakes, making their connection feel so much more authentic. Aphrodisiac is a sexy, heartfelt, and empowering story that is much about personal growth as much as it is about the romance. If you are looking for a book that will make you laugh, swoon, and think, this is it. Morgan and Gillespie's journey is proof that love can be transformative when you're willing to open yourself up to it, and that's the message we all can appreciate. The next honorable mention is none other than Lucid Dreams by Lady Nisha. You all should have known that this was going to be on my list. She is an auto-buy author for me. Another book that has it all: transformation, laughter, drama, and so much heart. From the first page, it was clear that this was going to be an emotional ride, and I was ready for it. So in Lucid Dreams, we get two twin brothers, Night and Day. And let me just say, Night and Day were nothing alike, but together they were a force. And no wonder why. They had to be. Their childhood, whew, traumatic doesn't even cover it. From violence, abuse, abandonment, and even a parent who wasn't even mentally present. These two had to raise themselves, and because of it, their bond was unshakable. Day was the loud, flashy, light-skinned twin with long hair, painted nails. He loved to dance, and his mouth was reckless. Whatever was on his mind, he will say it. Honestly, at first, I was side-eyeing Day because he was so disrespectful to women. But in the end, I fell in love with him. His growth was amazing to watch. Night was the opposite. He was dark-skinned, low-key into sports, and not much of a talker. But one thing about Night, he did not play, especially when it came to Hunter. Hunter is the FMC of the story, and y'all, she's been through it. A traumatic childhood with a mentally and verbally abusive father, plus she was a single mom doing her best to raise her son with little to no help from her deadbeat baby daddy. What I loved about Hunter is her strength and her resilience. Not to mention Hunter had those hands. She would lay you out. When Knight and Hunter finally connected, it was over. Knight could not stay away from her, and he was ready to handle anyone who disrespected her. Hunter and Knight were truly that couple. They were the perfect match. As I mentioned time and time again, Lady Nisha is good at writing great supporting characters. In Lucid Dreams, we have Harvey, Junie, and Axel, who's Hunter's son. I adored Axel just like I adored JJ from Losing Control. Axel had a personality, he was funny and smart. Axel stole my heart. That boy was all about his mama. He did not play about her. Their relationship was so beautiful. Now, let's take it back to Day. As I mentioned in the beginning, I was side-eyeing Day for the way he was talking to women. But he really grew on me because he was so goddamn funny. He's definitely the comic relief of the story, and I laughed so much because of him. But you do get to see his character grow, and in the end, I was rooting for Day. Hands down, this book is a must-read. It has all the things that make a good book. Whether it's Knight and Hunter's love story, the twins' unbreakable bond, or even the dynamics between Hunter and her son Axel. This story has everything, and again, it's a must-read that I highly recommend.